Hey, it's Empress Rose, and welcome to our winter solstice reading. I'm a little dressed up for the occasion. General reading, take what works, leave what doesn't. And to get the reading started, as I was preparing, I kept seeing a blue wall, I think it was exterior. It seemed to be painted blue, it was wood painted blue. It was like cobalt blue, cerulean. It was an intense blue wall. Yep, that's what I kept seeing. And then in my scrying ball, I've got, it's like a rabbit. It's again that dog with the big giant ears. It's like running and jumping and has those big giant ears floating up. And it's a bunny. I think the important thing here is the big giant ears, the listening, the apparatus for listening, the tools to listen, having tools to listen, having tools to hear something, having what you need in order to hear something, or somebody's listening a lot. Big ears, really big ears. Kind of reminding me now of like rabbit ears on TVs, like picking up different frequencies and shifting them and moving them and picking up all these different a shift that helps you hear something better. Yeah. And then in honor of both last week's reading with the light and the night coming through and solstice in 2 days here, we're going to do just the beginning cards a little bit solstice-y. That's it. And then we'll get into our tarot reading. So with the Moonology, of course, we're talking about what don't we see? What are we not seeing right now? What's hidden in the shadows? Because not seeing seems to think that we don't want to see or we're blind to it. Might be anyway. It might be hidden from us. Might be just, the future is always this unseen blankness, which is why we're trying to do this, like see a little bit into it. So what's hidden from view? What's not seen right now? What's in the shadows? All right, we want to do that one. It's falling out of my hand. There we go. Okay. We have one from the Moonology deck. What is currently hidden in the shadows? Oh, meditate and contemplate. Another card about spirituality. It's a new moon in Pisces. I'm happy that it's a new moon. Feelings, deep feelings, a deep connection with someone. This always reminds me of getting to know someone, or like dogs at the dog park circling around each other, getting to know each other. That's interesting, this meditate and contemplate, like in this, darkest time in the northern hemisphere. We're in our winter. I'm sure there are people southern hemisphere is having a very different experience, but I'm in the northern hemisphere, so I'm referring to the experience here. So meditation in the dark, that's perfect. That's what the dark's for. Meditate, contemplate. It's the opposite of action. It's really thinking about things, feeling your way through something, really feeling and flowing. It also talks to me about the head and the heart here, kind of circling around those two things, having them sort of focus in on each other, get to know each other, doing both, not forgetting the importance of both thinking things through and feeling our way through something. And spirituality is super important right now, but that's what's in the dark. That's what's unseen. Some sort of spiritual practice or the meditation. Like generally meditation is a solo endeavor that is unseen. Feels like prayers, maybe unseen prayers, unknown prayers. Unknown emotions. Oh, subconscious. Subconscious would be what's in the dark now. Subconscious. I don't want to say issues, but what do you call it? It's unknown. It's in the subconscious. So it's just very literally in the subconscious. And then we're going to use Work Your Light here for what's coming to light. What is coming to light for us? What is coming to light for us? I don't usually ask such specific questions. What's coming to light for us? Okay. Do you not like the question? Okay. What are we learning to see? Okay. What we are learning to see. Priestess, how are you being called to step up and lead? So we're learning to see where we can fill in for leadership, where we can create leadership, where there's a vacuum of vision, a vacuum of vision. I think I want to say also a vacuum of right action and stepping in, because we see with the priestess how you're being called to step up and lead. So that's something that's we're learning how to see and listen for, is places where the leadership, we can't look to others, where others are looking to us to provide the next step, to provide the idea on how to move forward with something. Yeah, you're learning to see, I think, where you can take leadership in your life and where you can take that role, taking charge, having the idea, seeing what needs to be done. It's a lot of what leadership is. And we're also learning to see Akasha. Your guidance is divinely guided. It's interesting because I feel, just this reading is a little different. Your guidance is divinely guided. To me, that sometimes seems like there's something in this reading that it doesn't resonate right away, or you're like, I don't know what that's about. Oh, well, that's how it should be. I don't know what that's about. Oh, well. But you will understand. You will see what this is talking about. So your guidance is divinely guided. This can also mean that you do have some insight. Both of these have you of having a lot of insight. Here's you in the dark, maybe gathering insight, pulling that stuff up from the deep, from your depths. And here you are having the insight, bringing the insight, and understanding that your insight is needed here. It is necessary. And having the courage to speak it, having the courage to talk about it, having that. The self-confidence to lead where you're being asked to lead. So I think this is like a lot of listening to yourself and then taking that information out into the real world and using it to help others. Guidance, leadership. All right, and then we're going to go to the Crow Oracle, Urban Crow Oracle. See what we have here. This one's like called Opening the Can of Worms. That's this this deck. Opening the Can of Worms. All right. Did any fall on the floor? No. Okay. So what we have here is preparation. Talk about opening the can of worms here. These clamshells are all going to get opened up. So it's fun. I've told you before, the ferry, I've been here, the ferry, and Fauntleroy ferry coming in. These crows have learned that this boat is full of cars and they're going to drive down here. They have no choice. They got to drive down here. So they're grabbing clamshells, putting them up here and letting the cars crack them open for them. They're doing a little bit of work, but being very smart about what work they do and what work they allow others to do. So they're preparing for this. They know an opportunity is coming in and they are getting ready. They're getting ready for the opportunity. They've seen it before, though. This isn't like, I'm guessing this opportunity is coming in. I've never seen this before. What is this? It's a boat with cars on it. Oh my gosh, it's not that. It's like, yeah, from time to time, this boat, they may not know the schedule. They may not know the clockwork of it. They may not understand that. They probably do. But it's just this thing comes in from time to time and we take advantage of it. When you see it coming, get ready. So you see something coming and you're getting ready. Oh my gosh, isolation. This one we got last time too. Alone. So maybe this is something that only you see coming, that you know that this is coming and you're preparing for it. Maybe not, it's not something you're telling everybody about. Oh, this is coming, prepare. You're like, I think this is coming. I'm going to get ready for this. I see it. You see it. You see something coming. I think that this meditate and contemplate, it relates to this isolation. It's something you understand solo by yourself. Routine, this might have to do with work, going to work, coming back. Something about your routine here, your regular schedule. Well, and this runs on a schedule too. This runs on a schedule. There's some kind of schedule and routine here, some sort of cycle that you've seen before here. You maybe go through it yourself. Strength and upheaval here. Big drama. Yeah, we did open a can of worms, didn't we? Strength. Standing your ground in the face of something that's very scary. You don't scare me. I know what you can do, but you don't scare me. I'm standing my ground. I see very clearly. I may be the only one that sees this very clearly. I may be acting completely independently. My actions may cause some isolation here, some people to abandon me or not be on my side. But you need to stand your ground here. You know something, and yeah, it seems like you're like preparing for something. Maybe you're even preparing to stand your ground. You're preparing for isolation. You know, you're not joining the group. You're not doing what others are doing. Maybe you're staying home and preparing. Maybe, you know, it's like this, everyone's going out to the party like we had last time. And you're like, no, I have to get ready for something. I can't do this. I have to get ready for something. Preparing for a routine that you're used to, that you usually have, but there's a lot of strength here. You're having to look something in the eyes that's a little bit scary. It's trying to scare you. It thinks it is. It thinks it is going to scare you. But you have to stand your ground here. And then we have upheaval, which is just fascinating. This isolation, preparation, routine, preparing for the routine to be upheaved. So maybe that's like getting your, like before you go on vacation, I always make sure my plants are all watered and my cat is taken care of, and I got the cat sitter. Well, I don't always make sure I got the cat sitter the right key, but yeah, we look at this preparation for some sort of upheaval. Maybe you can see upheaval coming. It seems obvious to you that this is going to be problematic. And then you've got this leadership. So if you're seeing something and nobody else is seeing it, nobody else thinks it's a big deal, nobody else sees this upheaval coming, you got to listen to yourself, because your guidance is divinely guided. You're preparing for something you can see. There's going to be a disruption to your routine. You understand this. You're going to need to stand your ground, perhaps alone. Perhaps you're standing alone here. Also called at times, I think, leadership. Having to take an unpopular stance because you know it's the right thing to do. Fascinating. There's both upheaval to the routine and preparing maybe for a new routine, and maybe it's a new routine. Maybe it's approaching this upheaval really, like now is a time of quiet and silence, and then we can approach this upheaval from a place of, you've got insight here, and you need to follow. If you're only leading yourself, lead yourself, not looking to others to solve the problem. All right, we're going to move on to the Guardians of the Night, since we're at the longest night of the year here. Guardians of the Night, the unknown. From the bottom of the deck, Five of Wands. Competitive, not easygoing. Not an easygoing card. It's tumultuous. It's hard to get what you want. There's a lot of different directions happening here. It's hard to get what you want. It's a competitive environment. It's hard to pull out what it is that you want here. Like, it's hard. It's not a great place for stability. We're working on it. We're trying to create stability here. It's a very unstable environment. Your work here creates stability, though. And there's a lot of moving parts. It's more complicated than it looks. There's chaos. It's the order and the chaos, and the chaos and the order. Because we got a beaver here building a dam, right? Look at this tumultuous water. Once the beavers built that dam, this beaver may be working alone for the most part. This beaver may be, but once that dam is built, we have a pond. Typically, we have they're creating stability, they're creating stasis, they're creating calm. But the process of getting that built could be a little tumultuous depending on where they decided to do it. Normally, I think of them as building a little dam in some place that's already a little calm, and then they just make it calmer. But this one's really taken on quite a challenge here to create its habitat and habitat for others from in the middle of this tumultuous situation. So it's kind of trying to create peace in a place where it may not be available. Past, present, inner landscape, what's at issue? Environment, to-do list, possible outcome. Are you joking? Oh my gosh. Your inner landscape, strength, both the tarot card and the, look at this, look at these two cards standing up to something. Oh my gosh. And this is from the Oracle deck and this is from the Tarot deck, and it's the same freaking card. That's wild. I love it. This is why we do what we do. That is stunning. That's just amazing how those cards line up like that. I mean, it's the same artist, but still. Whew. All right, in the recent past, we have Hanged Man. Something's been paused. Maybe there's been some disciplinary action. Maybe there's been a pause in something. I love, this is possibly the most brilliant card of all the decks I work with. This is a possum hanging upside down like our Hanged Man always does, like possums do, and it's playing dead, which is exactly the Hanged Man message, playing dead. It may have been frightened, something put it in this position, something dramatic happened that put this possum in this position of needing to play dead for a while, or letting something pause, letting something ride out, letting something simmer on the back burner, not taking a lot of action and activity, and not taking a lot of forward action and activity with this because it's paused. It's playing dead. A situation is playing dead. And it also has a disciplinary measure to it too with Hanged Man. The Hanged Man is someone who's being put on timeout for a little bit because and to think about what they've done. And you can think about what you've done all you want, but in the Hanged Man position, there's like a sentence that's meted out. There's a sentence here. And so you have to fulfill that sentence. So you can figure it out. You can understand what you did wrong, what you need to do differently, or somebody can understand, and you can start to understand all the workings of this, this situation. But that doesn't mean your sentence is over. Just because you feel like you learned your lesson doesn't mean that the prison sentence is over. It's a timeout, it's a playing dead. So something has been on pause. Maybe you thought a lot about it during that time period, maybe you figured out a lot, but that doesn't change it. That doesn't mean like, oh, I figured out. It's not like an escape room where if you figure out the formula or you figure out what needs to happen, then you get out and you solve it and you leave. That's definitely not what this is. So you can come up with all the solutions you want. You can implement all the solutions. You can understand everything. Still has its time period it has to do. So anyway, we have the Hanged Man. It's pause. It's timeout. Current situation, we have judgment here. So decisions are being made. There's a new beginning vibe here. There's a growth. There's something that needs to be left behind. There's timing. It's time. It's time to wake up. It's time for a new self. It's time for a new situation. The past is gone. And this judgment card really has a strong sense of moving from the past, leaving it behind, a new skin, a new you, a new outfit, a new you. And there's this bird that's sort of announcing this, like this resurrection or this new beginning in an old situation. Judgment I usually think of as the grades are back. You turned in the assignment, maybe you got an extension on the assignment, you turn it in and now it's getting graded. Like now the assignment got turned in and now it's getting graded. Or you turned in the assignment and your professor was like slow and had some problems coming up with it. So getting it up on their computer or something like that. So anyway, we have judgment, we have this snake, we have this newness. And last time we had like a snake in the sanctuary. But here we have this. But I also really want to take the traditional view of judgment, of decisions, of judgment day, of it's time to face the consequences of your actions. Hangman and judgment both have that going on here, this facing the consequences of your action. And maybe this is like being in a holding cell and this is facing the judge and having to account for things. But also the artwork is saying it's a newness, it's a resurrection card, it's a leaving this old behind. So maybe it's like the analogy might be getting out of prison and you're no longer, you can leave your prison clothes in the prison. You leave your clothes there. You leave yourself there. You leave the signifiers of that part of your life there, in that part of your life. So when you leave the prison, you don't take your jumpsuit, your orange jumpsuit with you. That belongs to the prison and that belongs in that situation. So there's something about that, like you don't take the clothes with you because you're going into a new situation and you can leave that. And it almost looks like this new skin, these are all brambles. I thought these were poppies. And they might be poppies representing loss, representing the past. But there's also these thorns, and it almost looks like the thorns caught this snake's skin and pulled it off. The snake had to lose that skin in order to free itself. So it's actually giving quite strong death cards here. So death and resurrection cards of like we're having to leave this old self behind and emerge in a new self. And then we have your inner landscape is strength, inner strength. But what I want to say is maybe you're the snake here because we have the snake in judgment. Maybe the snake from our last reading got some judgment and there's some newness and something has to stay back here. These clothes get stuck in the brambles and have to stay there, but the being continues on. So here we have the snake. Now, I don't know which one you are. I would think you are the rat here standing up to the snake and not being afraid of this. Finding that inner strength, mustering that inner strength to face your fears, to face something. Maybe face this judge. Maybe, I don't know why I'm getting prison so strongly, but maybe facing life outside of prison. Maybe facing who you've become, the strong leader you've become. Maybe it's going to take a lot from you, your heart pumping, but maybe you are also the snake. Maybe you're the snake and someone else's, and to be feared, and you don't, that might be a new thing for you, to be feared, to be somebody someone else has to face. Whatever it is, we know that we have strength twice. So double the strength. You're going to need double the strength here to face something, to face some fear, to face maybe a decision's been made, is being made, and is going to take so much courage, not just courage, but inner fortitude, like keeping your equilibrium. Keeping your equilibrium here is going to be very difficult. Not freaking out, not running off, not running away, but staying present with maybe scary emotions, maybe a scary situation, but staying present with it, staying with you. I think this meditate and contemplate card is really coming in very strongly here as far as like having this inner strength and wherewithal to to stay with emotions, to stay with something, right? This rat isn't running away. It's like, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to run away. I want to face you. And the snake is also involving a lot of inner strength. I need to listen to this rat. This rat has something important to tell me. I need to listen without eating it. Do not eat the pet rat. Maybe they're both pets, right? Like I had chickens for a long time, and I had these baby chickens, and I had this giant orange fluffy cat named King Louie. And I was worried, he was a bit of a killer. And so I was worried he would eat the baby chicks, and he did not. He understood. Those are precious. Those are mine. I'll eat the bunny, but I'm not getting the wild bunny in the yard, but I'm not going to eat the baby chicks under the lamp in the sunroom. So maybe it is this this sense of inner strength. Like I can't imagine how much strength it took him to fight his instincts to completely, and he could have easily eaten all of those little chickens. And then when the chickens grew up and then they'd kind of harass him and peck at him, I'm like, bet you wish you could go back in time, huh? Take care of that problem before it got bigger than you. No, they never got bigger than him. He was huge. And then we have 5 of Swords here in reverse is what the problem is. What's at issue? This inhospitable landscape where you don't belong anymore, but it's in reverse. 5 of Swords. It's like, normally it's like, do what's right for you. But these are already chopped down. Like, what good is it of these swords to come out? Like, I would think with this, the gravity would be pulling the swords out of these stumps. But what good would that do? They're already stumps now. What's done is done. We can take the swords out all we want. We can make apologies, we can whatever, but whatever's done is done. This landscape, is it regenerating a landscape? There's this regenerating concept in Judgment. I find it interesting too that the moon is green. It feels like subconscious issues surrounding jealousy. And this land being conquered, but maybe it's being unconquered. Maybe there's a sense of trying to go back. I'm not sure anything's salvageable here. The city collapsing. Maybe this is the upheaval, is the shoe being on the other foot. And I think we have this with the strength here. The shoe being on the other foot in a way. Why would these swords, they fall out of these stumps? So normally the 5 of Swords, if we're taking sort of technical historic views, the 5 of Swords is something where, you have to pick your battles. And you have to make unpopular choices. This is this leadership card here of just well, listen, none of my options are good. That's the thing with the 5 of Swords. None of the options are good. What's done is done. We're in this situation already. None of the options are good. So we have this this can go on and on and on. This argument can go on and on and on. Or we can just nip it in the bud. Yeah, you're not going to be happy. You didn't get your say. You didn't get whatever. But I don't really want to continue discussing this with you. Because I know, it reminds me of sometimes working, when my kids were smaller, they'd be oh, one threw flour while we were cooking or something. I was yeah, don't do that. He was 10. And I was don't do that. And he did it again. And I was just no, go. You have to go sit down over there now, because we can't have this right here. Not right now, not with this situation going on here. I don't even want to have a long back and forth about why you did that. How do you think? And that's great. And that's fine. And that's normally how I would have dealt with that, but not in that particular situation. We didn't have time for this. So, and maybe that's not the world's best example, but that's sort of what I'm getting is nipping something in the bud, having to choose the most expedient option versus the popular option. And that's what I think I'm seeing with this priestess and with the strength card showing up is needing to make a quick decision that might feel unfair to others. But it's you can see the writing on the wall. You can see where we're going with this. Don't be pessimistic about it, but, oh, I've seen this before, and you're going to just do the same thing everybody else does. But it's in this situation, there's not there's a pointlessness to the words, right? And that's a little bit of what I'm getting with this, a pointlessness to discussion, to words, to, you know, letting everybody have their say, because sometimes like that, you don't get a say here, or just making a quick decision that's unpopular, basically. And because prolonging it is pointless. And you can see that, maybe not everybody else can see that. Like, let's just go down this little path where we do this and we develop that. But this is more like having to make an unpopular decision. And maybe someone else is making an unpopular decision that you don't like, because it is in reverse. There's just a lot of what's done is done, and prolonging the situation is pointless, which I feel is actually very self-referential to my discussion on that card. So in your environment, Ace of Cups, a new relationship, renewed hope, renewed joy. That's what's going on in your environment. There could be a new relationship, a new hope, new understanding. We have the lotus after the mud, after the muck. We have the Luna moth. I don't know why that's important, but it seems like it. We have a Luna moth, we have a lotus, we have hints of the sun, we have a new day. We know the day is coming. We know the sun, and it looks like this sun in this other deck. Yeah, and then these are sunflowers here too. So there's something about a sun, an upheaval to the routine, a sun, but someone has hope here. This is like a renewal. So there's hope in the environment. It's so interesting because there's something scary for you, but the environment has a lot of hope here. A new relationship, a new friendship emerges from this. An intuition. And what I want to talk about the moon is that the moon doesn't give off light itself, right? It's reflecting the sun's light. So that's why, to me, it's a symbol of intuition, is because the sun's still here. The sun's still giving out light. And maybe we're not looking at that information directly, but we're getting the hint about the sun still shining, right? We're understanding that is still happening. We can't personally see it, but the moon is reflecting it. And it's sort of like, intuition can be like a mirror you hold up and you can look around the corner, like those corner mirrors. So you can see what's going on. You can see who's coming. Even if you personally can't see what's coming, this mirror is showing you. So what I'm seeing here is this new day coming that someone else can see, a new day coming. It's not something you're able to see right now, but someone else has the mirror in the right position to see that the sun will be rising soon. The sun is part of what I'm seeing as a mirror, this cup. So it's a new relationship. There's a lot of hope here. I feel like this person knows something you don't, and that's why they're hopeful. That's why they see that something is changing and transforming. I'm not sure you're seeing that, but they're seeing that, and they're new and they're coming into your life now. And maybe it's a very optimistic person in your environment. Then we have Temperance. This is you. Have patience. This is reminding me, for some dumb reason, of this song from this album when I was a kid. Have patience, don't be in such a hurry. When you get impatient, you only start to worry. Remember that God is patient too, and think of all the times when others have to wait for you. That is from a vault that is deeply buried vault. It's called The Music Machine. Yeah. It was an album with like a little book. Oh, I loved it. I had my own little record player. Well, it wasn't mine, but we had a kid's record player in the house. Anyway, Temperance, have patience. Something's changing. There could be health aspects, growing health, improved health, a transition for sure. A transition period that takes some time. A transition period. So you are being patient. It's not that you're not taking action. Of course, your leadership, you have guidance, but you're being patient with a situation, with somebody else. You're looking over at this Ace of Cups, which can really represent a new emotional reality, a new phase of a relationship, a new person in your life. You're looking at them and you're kind of watching and waiting, like what's going on. But we have cups here in the Temperance as well. So, oh, they're not matching cups though. This is a skin cup, a cup made out of skin. But you're halfway here. You're in between states. You're not all the way there yet. You're not all the way done. You're not all the way ready. You're close to being ready, but you're not all the way ready. And there's something about staying strong, hold the faith. You're not there yet, but you almost are. This growth, this change, this new life phase, the Temperance, it's right under the Judgment. So it's a new life phase. And maybe it's a leadership phase because we have this leadership, but it's a new life phase. But it looks like it's a process. So now I'm seeing this Judgment card of you're like halfway through shedding this. You're not all the way there yet. And that's your to-do list, patience with yourself. And strength can also read as patience too. Patience with yourself, patience with the situation. There is a new dawn coming, but you're still you're not there yet. It's like dusk. It's like a dusk in your life here. You can't move anything yourself. The Hanged Man here is telling me that. You can't move anything yourself. So, and then where we're headed in this very long reading is the World. The World card, some sort of ending and finality, maybe even travel, maybe even, yeah, but you're going to get there to some sort of completion. You're going to complete this situation. Look at all of the major arcana. We have Hanged Man, we have Judgment, we have Strength, we have Temperance, we have the World. 5 major arcana. So no wonder this is taking time. This is requiring strength and courage and persistence and taking care of your health, taking care of yourself, and accepting the fact that you're halfway to something. You're not there. You're trapped, you're stuck, and you're halfway out. You will be all the way. You will get to the end. And then as far as the minor, we have 5 of Swords, 5 of Wands, and Ace of Cups. So that's an 11, which is good altogether. But the 5s are really difficult energies. So there's this it's almost like you're giving birth and it's really difficult and things aren't necessarily going very well. This will eventually come to a close. You will eventually complete this process. But in the meantime, like this, as you leave this womb or this past skin or these past selves or this past situation, as you emerge, and there's an announcement here too, as you emerge, this emergence isn't quick. It's not fast. And it's requiring, yeah, with the double Strength card, yeah, this isn't easy. This is not an easy transition. This is a very difficult transition. But don't give up, don't quit. What you're trying to pull off here is pretty amazing. And then one last little thing. We're going to look to the animal, what is it, spirit animal, for one last little piece of advice to close this off. We'll just take that. Oh, yeah. Spirit guardian of the night. We didn't get the bat here, but here is the bat here. It's not in the spirit guardian of the night, even though we could argue that the bat is the spirit guardian of the night. Rebirth is assured. There's my cat getting fed. Rebirth is assured. Look at this renewal energy and Judgment and Ace of Cups. Rebirth is assured. This will come to a close. This will end. Rebirth is assured. Different ways of seeing things, different ways of experiencing life, different routines, a very different routine. But I think there is a lot of assurance here that the rebirth or the birth is happening. It's just very slow and difficult. So, all right, thanks for joining me. Happy solstice.